going back to the media stuff, how do you deal with being in the public eye? Like when they do write stuff about you, or if they post, what they love doing, not about you. I've not seen anything about you, but I know with celebrities in general, like really unflattering photos. So they'll like capture someone mid-yawn, or when they've got like a triple chin, even though they could be so thin, like they do it on purpose because they know that will sell papers or magazines or whatever. Like when you read that stuff about yourself or see any like unflattering photos, how do you deal with that?
Sarah Pascoe, the comedian, said something brilliant to me once where we were talking about confidence. And she said, the confidence that you need to be an artist is you need to have toddler energy. So the way toddlers walk out with their like little pot bellies sticking out and their hands on their hips and they're sort of stomping around. That is the state that you have to be in when you're trying to write something or make something that you think that the world will enjoy. You have to be in this blind toddler state of building with your big colourful bricks and knocking things over and making a mess everywhere. And you have to feel uninhibited. And the minute that you get a modicum of success, obviously like toddler state and the freedom of that and the creativity of that, the like unbridled pot belliness of that becomes really threatened because you feel so self-conscious all the time. And that's a really difficult thing to balance. And I think you just have to, I do a lot of therapy to process, mainly like, so my work doesn't suffer and my brain doesn't suffer, but to process like what it is to be a public person, as well as what it is to just continue making work that you're proud of and getting better at that work. And for that to be the main focus and to have like a happy and sane life. And I think a lot of that work is, for me, pretending that I'm not, that people don't know who I am and they're not expecting my work. So, for example, with the photos thing, I obviously don't have like paps or anyone taking pictures of me. What I do have is like very unflattering photos taken when I'm talking, when I'm doing speaking events or whatever. And that is rough because I feel like most women, I don't know if you got to this point, since I've got to like my mid 30s, I'm pretty happy with the way that I look now. I'm pretty bored of that taking over my thoughts.
Yes.
I leave the flat every day and I think, you're working with what you got.
You're a bit of all right.
You're a bit of all right. You know how to dress. You got a nice face. Whatever. It doesn't really matter that much anymore. You're looking good, girl. And then what is difficult is when you see those photos, you are aware of the lie that you tell yourself every day. So it's like this dismantling of this thing that you have to do, which is like a great act of love for yourself every day. And the thing that means you don't think about the way you look anymore. I have to do that as a daily practice because I want to get on with life. And what's annoying with those photos is it kind of robs you of that.
Yes, I totally agree. And I wonder with therapy, what sort of therapy do you do? Is it like a psychologist or psychotherapist or?
So I did do Freudian therapy for years, which was, I think, it was like a very full on, but that very good, like sort of unshakable basis for me of therapy, of like understanding therapy language, understanding what the relationship is. I have to say, you actually look quite a lot like her, which is probably why I'm going to open. Yeah, my first one. You look a lot like her. She was like a very beautiful dark-haired woman. Anyway, so that's maybe why I'm going to be opening up too much to you. But yeah, so I started with her, and then now I've been with the same woman since I was 30. And I started speaking to her basically after I had success with the book. The biggest mistake I made with the first therapist was I stopped therapy a month before my first book came out. I don't know why I did that. And then I sort of ran out of things to talk about.
Yeah.
And then obviously the book did well, and I realized there was just this whole, opened a secret door, like a jib door, into this like whole other ballroom of problems that I didn't realize I was going to have. So I kind of stupidly thought that success would mean a subtraction of problems rather than a multiplication of new ones. So I've been with her, and she's a psychologist. She uses CBT theory with me. She's very different to that first therapist, but I honestly, I did a session yesterday with her, one where it felt like I'd been in like an emotional gym, and I was like, I've been on like this emotional treadmill for an hour. I was just like so red in the face from tears at the end, and it just felt great. And having that relationship, that long relationship with a psychologist, just works very, very well for me.